Let me take you to Germany. You said off camera that you spoke German. How did you come to speak German?
Well, that's taking, I think I mentioned earlier, making an opportunity.
And your mother taught French.
Yeah, my mother didn't speak German. I speak a little French. I don't read or write it, but I learned it from my mother. No, my mother was the reason I applied for a Fulbright. And, you know, these things don't just happen out of the blue. My mother said, I've been thinking about your graduate education. Have you thought about going abroad? I said, well, yes, I've thought about it. How do you think we're going to do that? She said, well, there's a Fulbright Fellowship. There's no reason you shouldn't have a Fulbright Fellowship. You're eligible. But she said, you know, it's my assessment that to the extent the country you choose is a non-traditional choice, to that extent are your chances of winning better.
So if you had, say, chosen to go to England.
I don't think I'd have won anything. Or France, but I didn't really want to go to France. I said, how about Germany? And she said, well, why do you choose Germany? I said, well, Dr. Edmonds speaks German. I'd studied Latin, 4 years of Latin in high school. And so when I got to college, I had to choose a different language. I wasn't taking Latin. And I found out somehow that Dr. Edmonds spoke German. I took German, you know, to meet the college requirements. So I had fundamental German grammar. And then one of the head of the German department was also sort of a faculty member who was around a lot. And I contacted him and I said, if I were to apply for a Fulbright for Germany, how would I learn German well enough that I could win? He said, I would tutor you. So that was the die was cast.
What's amazing to me, the first place is that they taught German at all.
That not only they taught German, but two of the professors, the Manasses, were German. Mrs. Manasseh also taught German, and Dr. Manasseh taught ethics. They were on the faculty.
These refugees?
Well, yeah, I'm presuming they were. I didn't.
The reason I asked very quickly is
sure
there's
they were.
this population of Jewish immigrants, refugees from Nazism who just populated these black college campuses.
Absolutely.
Their credentials destroyed. They couldn't get jobs. They were qualified for at white schools.
And
anyway, let's go.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, and they both had PhDs in the European system. There were several on campus who were refugees. And so there were all these people. I took ethics from Dr. Manasseh. So I knew people who knew German, which meant that I didn't feel I was speaking Russian or something. And I applied for the Fulbright to Germany. I studied up on German, and I took more German. And then when I was notified that I had won, I went into overdrive into daily lessons in German. So that by the time I was ready to sail, and we sailed in those days, we did not fly, I was comfortable in German. Then German was taught on the ship because all the Fulbrights to Germany went on the same ship. We all landed at Hamburg, and then we spread out where we were
What did the
going
others think when they saw you?
They thought I was strange because there were two blacks on the whole boat. And there were some, it was funny, there were some Indian soldiers on the boat. I don't know what they were doing on there, but they kept trying to make me one of the Indian soldiers. The Indians also tried to adopt me. I have pictures with these Indian soldiers. But no, it was really strange to them that I was going to Germany. Fortunately, the woman I spoke of who had been born in Vienna, and Vanna, who is a scholar who had been born in Buchau am Federsee in southern Germany, and Marvin, who is a musician with whom I had simpatico because I was also a musician, and Marion Magid, who is from New York Jew actress. The three of them, not including Marvin, had sort of been friends for life, Marion, Inga, and Vanna. Marvin was just a wonderful person, so he became a friend. And in some way, I became very much involved with them, in part because I could speak some German. And Inga said to me, Scruggs, you're not going to make it if you're not bilingual. Don't speak any more English. So we became a team, and I went to all the 8 days on the boat. We had German classes. And then when I got to Bonn, where I was supposed to go to school, I transferred to Berlin because they were all going to Berlin. And they said, Scruggs, you don't want to go to Bonn, it's boring, come go to Berlin. And so I transferred to the Free University in Berlin and the Institute of Political Science, which is officially called the Hochschule für Politik. And we were all political scientists except for Marion, who was Marion and Marvin, they were arts people, but Brenner, Inga, and I were political scientists. So it turned out to be a wonderful selection and a wonderful choice.